Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be revisiting Aesthetic Perfection. Now I only checked them out about a month ago for the first time when I looked at a track called Gods and Gold, I think it was called, and I found them to be a very interesting, intriguing band. His actual vocal style sort of perplexed me at the time, because I said, you know, he was doing harsh vocals, but it didn't sound like it was in a good way, you know. It didn't sound like it was done in a healthy manner, and sounded like it could possibly, like, ruin his throat. But then, you know, it was pointed out to me he was doing something called vocal fry, which is not, it's a phrase that I've heard, but I wasn't actually familiar with exactly what it was. You know, when I do vocals, I do, like, distorted death metal growls or death metal screams, as it were. I've never been too familiar with what vocal fry was, so now I know. And obviously there must be a way to do that safely, but when I first heard it, I was sort of thought, hold on, that doesn't sound very healthy. But there we go. This is why I do what I do. I like to learn these things. I like to find out these sorts of things. So, you know, it's always good when people tell me that sort of thing, as long as they do it in a polite manner and, you know, don't throw around insults. But anyway, we're going to look at a track today called Blood Runs Cold. Now, this is a relatively new track that came out not long after I actually checked out Gods and Gold, as I understand it. Now, I have lyrics here that come directly from Aesthetic Perfection's Bandcamp page, so they should be accurate. There's not actually many lyrics there, so maybe it's not a very long song, but we'll see. So let's just jump into this track and see what we've got. So, Blood Runs Cold by Aesthetic Perfection. Let's have a look.
I'm afraid, 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 I'm afraid. Yeah, my blood runs cold. I am afraid of the man I never was. I am afraid of the path I never took. I am afraid of the shadow I cast. I am afraid that it holds me back. I am afraid of the man I never was. But you done. You said it now. But you done. It's all made up. Yeah, my blood runs cold. I am afraid of the passion I've ignored. I am afraid of inactions in my soul. I am afraid I just pass me by, slip away, never asking why. I am afraid of the passion I've ignored. But you done.
Well, there you go. Blood Runs Cold by Aesthetic Perfection. Now, that's quite different to how I remember Gods and Gold being. The harshness of the vocal performance isn't quite as prominent here. You know, there's obviously a bit of distortion, maybe a little bit of fry to the vocal performance, but not quite as severe as it was in Gods and Gold. Very heavy on the electronica side of things. I will say I didn't quite enjoy this as much as I enjoyed Gods and Gold, but saying that, it's not a bad piece of music. You know, I could quite happily listen to this over again. Now, as you saw, there wasn't any particular video to it. There was just a picture of some person who I'm assuming is the vocalist, whose name escapes me now. Can't remember. But anyway, I'm assuming it was the singer of Aesthetic Perfection. It looks like a high school photo sort of thing, but he's sort of scratched out the eyes. And given the subject matter of the track, it almost suggests like he doesn't like who he used to be, or the fact that he was hiding away from who he is. I mean, lyrically, it sort of suggests that, because it says, I'm haven't even got one line in and I'm getting it wrong already. Let's try that again. I am afraid of the man I never was. I'm afraid of the paths I never took. I am afraid of the shadows I cast. I'm afraid and it holds me back. I am afraid of the man I never was. So, it sounds like he when he was possibly in his younger days, he was hiding away from himself, and he was scared of who he really was, or he's afraid of the fact that, afraid of the man I never was. He was afraid of who he was pretending to be in order to hide who he actually was, should I say. I'm afraid of the man I never was. So he hated the fact that he was having to pretend to be someone else, possibly. I'm afraid of the paths I never took. Again, maybe it's hard to say, because I don't want to make any assumptions here. I'm afraid of the paths I never took, So there were certain routes that he felt he should have taken in life, but he was too scared at the time to pursue those, maybe for fear of judgment from other people. And he says, I'm afraid and it holds me back. So he's afraid of being who he really is. And, that sort of holds him back, as it were. It then goes, oh, bite your tongue, you've said enough. Oh, bite your tongue, it's all made up. Yeah, my blood runs cold. I'm afraid of the passion I've ignored. I'm afraid and inactions in my soul. I'm afraid life has passed me by, slip away, never asking why. I'm afraid of the passion I've ignored. Excuse me. So again, there's things that I really loved and really cared for, things that I really wanted to do, but I ignored them for fear of how others might react to it. There are certain things I wanted to do in my life, but I was afraid of judgment from other people, possibly. It says I'm afraid and inactions in my soul. So there's all these things I want to do, but I'm so scared of how it's going to be perceived by people around me that I'm just failing to act upon them. I'm not going to do the things that I really want to do. The things that I feel in my soul are the right things to do. I'm not going to enact upon them because I'm afraid of how it's going to be perceived by other people. If that makes any sense. But that's pretty much all there is to the song. That's all the lyrics I have here, aside from repeating that, oh, bite your tongue, you've said enough, oh, bite your tongue, it's all made up. Yeah, my blood runs cold. you know, it just repeats that again. And that's all the lyrics there are. And the fact that there's like what appears to be a picture of him in high school with the eye scratched out. I'm guessing that it's him anyway. I could be wrong, but it's sort of, the fact that he sort of scratched out the eyes is like he hates, well, not necessarily hates, he doesn't like that part of his life, because when he was that person that's in the photo, that's not him. You know, that was a sort of fake persona to cover up who he really is, which is who he is now. I don't know. But I mean, it was a decent piece of music. Like I said, I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Gods and Gold. But again, a different vocal style in there. But I enjoyed it. I liked it. You know, not my favourite, but I still liked it. And I'm still going to have to investigate this band further. Because, I mean, those are the only 2 tracks I've heard. So if anybody can give me any suggestions of any spectacular tracks by this band, or should I say artist, then please do so by all means, because I'm really intrigued to discover more. So yeah, I don't know what else I can say on that, so I'm going to leave that as it is. If you enjoyed this video, maybe give it a like, maybe even subscribe if you're not subscribed already, because that would really help me out. And yeah, I'm going to leave that as it is. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.